Prime Minister, we've seen the best of Australians arguably during this crisis, but also at times the worst of Australians. For example, Asian Australians being spat on and bus drivers attacked. Is it time for a new anti-racism campaign? And what is your message to people doing that sort of thing?
Stop it. That's my message. And I think that's the message of every Australian. Now is a time to support each other. And I remind everyone that it was Chinese Australians in particular that provided one of the greatest defences we had in those early weeks. They were the ones who first went into self-isolation. They were the ones who were returning from family visits up into China, and they were coming home. And it was through their care, it was through their commitment, their patience, that actually Australia was protected in that first wave. I mean, within a week of our first case, we'd shut off travel from those from China, except for Australians returning home. And so absolutely, I deplore that sort of behaviour against any Australian, regardless of their ethnicity, of their religion, or whatever it happens to be. And I think that's the view of all Australians. So, you know, we've got to call that sort of thing out. It's not on. Yep.
PM, thank you. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has rejected Maurice Payne's call for an independent inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus, saying things like we're dancing to the tune of another country. No surprises for who that would be. What's your reaction to that, and what sort of steps will you take in your talks with other leaders, perhaps, about trying to establish such an inquiry?
Well, I think such an inquiry is important, and we can respectfully have a difference of view from that's been put by China. The virus began in China, in Wuhan. That's, I think, well understood. And it's important that the WHO acts, and all parties that are part of the WHO act with great transparency. I think this is important regardless of where a virus might break out. If it happened in Australia, if it happened in China, if it happened in parts of Africa or the Pacific or the Middle East or wherever it would happen to be, it's important for public health globally that there is a transparency in the way that you can get access to this important information early. So it's not pursued as an issue of criticism, it's pursued as an issue of importance for public health. And I think it's important that all countries cooperate with that, regardless of who they are. And we would be certainly pursuing something along those lines. I know it's a view that the Foreign Affairs Minister has articulated with my very, very strong support. And I think there is great support for that type of initiative more broadly. Yep.